Hello. It's been a confusing day on the plains of Auburn, as in 1 minute it's raining, and the next minute it's full sun. I'm Robert Wilkins. This is the 14th edition of Citizens Brief Auburn Series 39 as we march to Election Day. Public records requests seem to be just a lot of waste to the Lee County Commission and the City of Auburn. It took 385 days to get public records requests on the number of delinquent pays from the Lee County Commission. It's taken 249 days and counting to request financial records from Solid Waste Management Fund from the City of Auburn. One was samize that solid waste has issues of trash that need to be uncovered. Because what other reason would they put up such an exhausting, timely, and costly defense by denying public records requests to citizens? This is part 2. Can Lee County Commission correct a wrong?
Records request concerns that I've experienced. This is not the first time I've experienced them. It is close to being the third or fourth different issue I've experienced since. So I have another folder to present to y'all. So before you, as you open up the folder, you'll see that the first document you'll find says 6,818, quote, delinquent names request timeline and how Lee County Commission refused to release public records for 385 days. When the County Commission initially proposed that there were delinquents and there were 6,818, that day I gave a public records request to Alice McCall. It took 385 days to get those documents. Now that is appalling, gentlemen. If they identified that there was that specific number, they should have easily been able to provide it the next day, but they didn't. So I had to wait 385 days. Now we're going to move on from that because that has already been remedied and done. I have the records. I only had to wait a year plus. The second document you'll find before you, it says the Lee County Commission refused to release public records for 318 days. This was what I was on the agenda for last year. I think it was June or July of last year. And I had talked about how the County Commission couldn't find the documents I had put in for the request of records. If they don't know what I'm looking for, they don't know to give it to me. So they eventually did find them. It only took 318 days to get the records I first initially saw. The third document you have before you, this is the one we're going to talk about. This is the Lee County Commission refuses to release public records again. Now, if you recall, on September 29, 2024, the Lee County Commission named Holly Leverett the public officer over public records requests, and all public records come through Holly Leverett now. Recall, Holly Leverett states she follows the new Alabama Code religiously, as expressed by Holly Leverett during September 9, 2024. Recall, September 30, 2024, the Lee County Commission officially designates Holly Leverett, Chief Administrative Officer, as the Lee County Public Officer to manage and respond to open records requests. All of that said, now we get into the timeline. On October 27, 2025, Lance Farrar, that's me, gave notice for a public records request for, quotation, certified copy of all letters presented to the Lee County Commission regarding fraudulent mailing of county trash bills since April of the year 2022 to that present, which is October 27, 2025. And the request number was 251007. On November 10, 2025, Holly Leverett speaks with Lance Farrar during the 4 p.m. work session and states the Lee County Commission does not have or cannot find any of the records he requested on October 27. On November 14, 2025, Lance Farrar receives an email from Aubrey Galedge informing him the October 27, 2025 public records were available for pickup, and a copy of that email is provided below. That's in blue. Now, the concern immediately following that was what I asked for was not provided. I had asked for certified copies, and that was not provided. It was just a copy of what they had. So on November 17, 2025, Lance Farrar receives an email from Aubrey Galedge informing him that the certified copies of that October 27, 2025 public records were available for pickup, and a copy of that email in blue is provided below. On November 24, 2025, that was my birthday, Lance Farrar gave notice for a public records request for certified copy of the fraudulent mailing letter provided to the commission on that day, provided by John Sophocles. During public comments regarding the October 27, 2025 public records request for a certified copy of all letters presented to the Lee County Commission regarding fraudulent mailing of county trash bills since April of the year 2022 to that present October 17, 2025. Lance exposes that the County Commission does not have all the public records John Sophocles has repeatedly presented to them. Therefore, the Lee County Commission is in violation of Alabama Code 41-13-1, Public Records Defined. According to the conversation that took place before the November 10, 2025 meeting with County Administrator Holly Leverett. So in my public comments, I asked, where are the records? Recall, these records must be protected from mutilation, loss, or destruction according to the County Commission's Records Disposition Authority. Remember that document I read? It was a 68-page document I thought you guys should read. It was riveting. I loved it. During the public comments of November 24, 2025, SOF handed the letter to Acting Chairman Doug Cannon, District 1 Commissioner, and newly appointed Lee County Commission Attorney Robbie Alexander Hyde, and District 4 Commissioner Tony Langley, and Lee County Commission Governmental Relations Coordinator Wendy Swan. So 4 different people got the document that I requested. On December 15th, 2025, after I presented the public records request for that copy that John Sophocles provided to you, and after I asked where are the records regarding the October 27, 2025 public records request, Holly Leverett gave me a response to my November 24, 2025 public records request of me seeking certified copies of the fraudulent mailing letter provided to the Lee County Commission on November 24, 2025, provided by John Sophocles. That was stamped received on November 24, 2025. I have a copy. Who received that? That was Doug Cannon, Robbie Alexander Hyde, Tony Langley, and Wendy Swan. On that response, Holly Leverett states, this document is not one that was created by Lee County Commission and is not one that is reasonably necessary to record the business and activities carried out by the Lee County Commission. As such, it is not a public record and therefore is not subject to disclosure. Which does not make any sense, as the document, John Sophocles' letter, was in response to the mailing sent to him by the Lee County Commission and or Lee County departments. So right below that, I had to make sure this was real easy to read. This response is incompatible with Alabama Code 41-13-1, Public Records Defined. And it states all written, typed, or printed books, papers, letters, documents, and maps made or, this is the word that matters, or received in pursuance of law by the public officers of the state or counties. These are public records. I asked for public records. I'm not asking for something that's not designed to be given. So the questions I have at the bottom are, therefore, the necessary and immediate questions that need to be addressed. Will Holly Leverett finally release the public records that were requested on October 27, 2025, and the public records on November 24, 2025? And if she will not, is Holly Leverett warring with the Alabama Code while at the same time collecting a paycheck for and working as the Lee County Commission Chief Administrative Officer? The very next document you'll find is a document she handed to me on December 15, 2025, and I highlighted the part that matters for this one specific instance, where she says that as such it is not a public record and therefore not subject to disclosure. The next document you have will have a year timeline. And you'll see it says 2023 in great big bold letters at the top. These are 33 different times John Sophocles came up here asking for a copy of the contract and exposing that there was, in fact, mail fraud taking place. Of any one of these 33 times has the commission taken the time to open an investigation on whether mail fraud was taking place. If you look, the timestamps that are in blue, I didn't have a record of those, or if I did, I don't know where they are. So I came to the commission with Holly Leverett and, oh my goodness, Aubrey to watch those. The ones in blue were the ones I did not have a record for. The ones that are red, those are one of the seven different letters that SOF presented to the commission over the last 4 years that the commission actually physically had, and they gave them to me in my public records request. Since October 27, 31 different times John Sophocles presented letters to you all, and only 7 were given in a public records request. So 7 out of 31, I was only given 22.58% of the public records. Therefore, 24 out of the 31 letters the commission received from John Sophocles, 77.42% were not given. And I gave this to you in a structured, organized, chronological pattern so that you would know that it's not just one thing or another. There's a pattern in practice to some of this.
Any questions of Mr. Farrar? All right. Thank you, Lance.
If any of you citizens out there have a concern, brief us, and we will brief Alabama. Good evening. So Robert at auburnsvoice.com or call 205-399-1579. If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? Auburn citizens need to make that sound louder and clearer.